Today in crypto, China's $50 billion Bitcoin secret must be driving Chinese authorities crazy. Another company has bought Bitcoin. Whales cannot stop filling up their big old fat bellies with Bitcoin. And commercial banks, oh boy, they are in big trouble. My name is Lark, and this is where you subscribe for all of the hottest and all of the latest for all of the hottest and all of the latest for all of the hottest and all of the latest happening out here in the wild land of crypto. So let's see what the big orange coin is up to today. Bitcoin dipped by 5% yesterday. Everything's fine, keep calm and carry on, nothing unusual here. Currently, we are still above $11,000, and what I'm seeing forming up now is an ascending channel for Bitcoin. We have two wicks up on top there, we have two wicks down on the bottom, so it would appear that we do have a valid pattern forming up here. Now, if this does hold, then we can watch for Bitcoin in the short term anyway to come back up and test the center line right around $12,000, which is, of course, a very important line of resistance. It would also make for a nice, tidy, long position. We could, however, be in for a few weeks of more kind of just sideways action. If so, then we may expect the chart to end up looking something like this over the coming weeks as we move into September. So just a slight rise in price, but overall September could be a boring month, or it might be super explosive if the George Ball prediction comes true, of everyone piling in to Bitcoin after Labor Day. However, if this particular ascending channel does not hold, then the super critical line of support that you need to be aware of, $10,500. That is both historically an incredibly significant line of support and resistance, and of course we do have a confluence here with the 50-day moving average currently sitting right around the $10,500 mark as well. So if we see this price level fail at $10,500, that's bad news bears, guys, but good for dip buying if you're on the hunt for a good dip. Now, on the higher time frames, we can see that Bitcoin has closed the last 2 weeks above $11,500, which is a very significant level considering that it was a major closing area for Bitcoin weekly charts, particularly back in 2019 when we had our kind of bear market rally. We still have 5 days to see if Bitcoin can close another weekly candle above that level, which of course, if it does do that, would just be overall bullish for the market. But let's just not forget here, I think it's so easy to lose sight of where we are in the market. Bitcoin just broke out of a multi-year downtrend recently. If in doubt, just zoom out a little bit. We're such an exciting market. We're at such an exciting time in this market, so it's very cool. Bitcoin has also now stayed above $10,000 consecutively for the second longest time in its history. The longest time, of course, started back in 2017 at the height of the previous bull run that lasted for 63 days. Now, the chart on the screen is actually a day old now, so it has now beaten July 2019 to be the second longest period above $10,000. Bitcoin's never going under $10,000 again, guys. Yeah, woo! Shh. Don't jinx it, Lark. Don't jinx it. Shut up, man. That's CME gap, though, guys. Seriously, under 10K. Anyway, moving on, we have a new whale all-time high, which is so important to keep in consideration. So there's now 2,190 addresses which contain 1,000 or more Bitcoin. This metric is on the rise. But, you know, 1,000 or more Bitcoin is kind of a tricky metric because some of those accounts, they have way more than 1,000 Bitcoin. But the total amount of Bitcoin held in accounts of 1,000 or more, it's around 7.9 million Bitcoin. So this, of course, is big time evidence that the very wealthy investor class, they are buying Bitcoin. There are also now over 500,000 Bitcoin accumulation addresses, which are defined as having 2 or more incoming transactions and which have had no outgoing transactions and which have been active in the last 7 years. So that chart would, of course, exclude potentially long forgotten addresses and, of course, also excludes miners and exchanges. Now, in total, 14% of supply. That means that 14% of the supply, it is in the hands of people who are incredibly unlikely to be selling that anytime soon. Much more, of course, when we consider that there are addresses from 9 or 10 years ago that they're not factoring in here, that we know are still alive, that we know have not cashed out, and that have significant amounts of Bitcoin. And of course, that many accounts might simply be active and thus not counted on this particular metric. For example, my Bitcoin addresses would not be counted here because I move Bitcoin in, I move Bitcoin out, so they wouldn't be counted in the particular metric. But to know that 14% of the supply is in the hands of some serious hodlers, all they do is they buy it and they hold it. That's super awesome. So we've got strong hodlers. We have more and more whales coming in. It's important to pay attention to what these hodlers and the whales are doing, because they're looking around the corner. They see the big picture. Watch the whales. The whales are accumulating. They're accumulating at these prices. The numbers, they keep going up, and that is important because the whales are not afraid to buy here, and I'm not afraid to buy here either. And I think that a lot of you will also be dollar cost averaging in and getting more Bitcoin at these levels. A big thank you to BlockFi for sponsoring today's episode. So if you want to start making a passive income with your cryptocurrency, then you have got to check out BlockFi. You can earn 6% on your Bitcoin, 5% on your Litecoin, 4.5% on your Ethereum, and 8.6% on stablecoins like USDC and Paxos. And with their Flexi Pay option, you can even deposit dollars and then earn Bitcoin as interest, which is a powerful way to activate some dollars that you might have sitting around, but you don't want to buy Bitcoin necessarily with. You can even take out a loan on BlockFi, so if you need cash in a flash, but you don't want to sell your cryptocurrency, you can actually take a tax-free loan to unlock liquidity and get that cash, and then of course not lose your crypto. There's a link down below in the description where you can learn more about BlockFi and start earning a passive income with your cryptocurrency. Okay, so now on to the news. Another company has bought Bitcoin for their company reserves. Now, this is a Canadian software company. It's not a particularly big company, but it's a company named Snappa. They put 40% of their cash reserves into Bitcoin. Now, what was the inspiration for their move to put so much of their cash reserves into Bitcoin? Well, apparently the owner read the story about MicroStrategy. And look, obviously the big story of, MicroStrategy buying 0.1% of supply, that was very, very consequential. But how many thousands of smaller companies out there, like this one, like Snappa, right? They're going to go out and they're going to buy 10 Bitcoin, or they're going to buy 20 Bitcoin, or maybe they're going to buy 100 Bitcoin. Many of these companies, they're never going to do a press release. We're never going to know that they did it. They just do it. So now you have to understand, you are not competing with just hedge funds and just the private funds and just the millionaires and just the billionaires and just the retail buyers and just the publicly traded companies. But now you also have to compete with tens of thousands of small companies globally that are potentially sitting on cash reserves and thinking, what are we going to do with this money? They're buying Bitcoin. They're turning to Bitcoin as a strategic asset. It's just a fascinating turn of events. Obviously, no one's going to want to be last, which just starts building the FOMO the more of these announcements that we get. Now let's talk about all the hottest and all the latest in banking news. Ooh, exciting, Lark. Yes, banking news. So global banks have suffered a $2 trillion drop in equity valuations this year. Casual, $2 trillion. Ain't no biggie between friends, right? Seriously. This is nuts. U.S. banks got hammered the worst with really just some of these major banks like JP Morgan down 29%, Bank of America's down 27%, Wells Fargo just got annihilated at 55%. Chinese banks also took some really big hits. And look, there's a lot of reasons why bank stocks are down. Obviously, the pandemic is having a hand in all of this. But there's also really never been more competition for these bloated, corrupt dinosaur institutions. You have newcomers like Cash App or Revolut, which are so much more appealing for banking, especially to a younger generation. And of course, we have cryptocurrencies, which are increasingly being turned to as an alternative. And just think about this. This is crazy. A savings account at Chase Bank will net you a whopping 0.01% a year. That's insane. Meanwhile, BlockFi, we're over here getting 8.6% on our dollars. banks, man, they're in trouble. They're screwed. And look, no one's going to miss banks when they go, but it's becoming a do or die time for commercial banks. We already see players like JP Morgan making more inroads towards the cryptocurrency economy. And look, that 0.01% that's being offered doesn't even keep up with inflation. Which, by the way, Federal Reserve Chief Jerome Powell is expected to announce on Thursday that the Federal Reserve will be increasing inflation to a target of 2%, which makes that 0.01% even just more of a laughable joke. It doesn't even keep up with inflation. You're losing money putting your money in the bank. This move is only going to put more pressure on the dollar from the Fed as well, so it's really just a commitment to endless monetary expansion. It's not going to end well for the dollar, and you just have to realize that the serious people who are supposed to be in charge of stuff, they're not in control. They don't know what they're doing. They only have an appearance of being in control. It's all theater. They're just throwing money at stuff. Remember, no one is coming to save you. You have got to save yourself. Bitcoin is here. It is the life raft. You have the option. Buy Bitcoin, get on the life raft, or get wet. And finally, for today, China has a very, very big problem. A Bitcoin problem. And it's not what you probably think it is. You see, this is actually a story that underlines the importance of cryptocurrency and shows that Chinese citizens are getting in the life raft, because over $50 billion in cryptocurrency has flowed out of China over the past 12 months amid the country's trade conflicts, but also amid their increasingly draconian measures to try to crack down on capital flight and to keep people from being able to access foreign currencies. There, of course, is only one thing that cannot be stopped: Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. The police state can't stop it. The Communist Party can't stop it. The Great Chinese Firewall can't stop it. And look, this is a super, super relevant story because East Asia, it is the world's largest cryptocurrency market, accounting for about 31% of all cryptocurrency transactions in the last 12 months. Now, that 31% statistic does include Taiwan and Hong Kong and Japan and South Korea, which obviously different jurisdictions, and they don't suffer from the same regulatory barriers that our fellow humans living in China happen to experience because of their insane government. But according to Chainalysis, most of that $50 billion in crypto being sent abroad from East Asia, that was coming from China, which of course is fascinating. You see, in Korea and in Japan, people buy cryptocurrency for an investment purpose, or maybe they spend it at their local coffee shop or something, whatever, but it largely stays within the borders. People aren't sending it abroad for remittances or to get their capital out because they don't have those problems. And yeah, of course, Chinese are using it for investing too. But an obviously just massive use case is evading capital controls. And thus, of course, the large amount of money being moved abroad from China is being done with cryptocurrency. In fact, it's kind of impossible to accurately value how big the market is, but the black market for cryptocurrency in China, it's actually now way, way bigger than the white market ever was, according to all statistics that I've seen in the past year or so. Also noteworthy was that more than 90% of the transfers were over $10,000 in value, meaning that this is the wealthy getting their money out of the country. This isn't like little remittances or anything. This is real capital flight stuff here. And look, at some point, China's just going to have to give in and just regulate the cryptocurrency market. When they do, oh man, it's just going to be so crazy for the market. It's just going to be super bull town. But until then, it's honestly just so impressive to see that even the mighty government of China can do nothing in the face of Bitcoin. This technology right now, today, is eating away at the bases of the most powerful states and organizations on Earth. The disruption is happening in real time. It's incredibly exciting, and damn, it does feel good to hold Bitcoin. Anyway, of course, just my 2 Satoshis. Your question for today: do you think that we're going to see a U-turn from the Chinese government at some point, that they're going to just say, okay guys, just go crazy on the Bitcoin thing, do the Bitcoin, we're just going to regulate it, bring the market back in, it's all going to be cool? It's just they're fighting a losing war. I feel like it's got to happen at some point, but maybe you have a different opinion. Do let me know down below in the comment section. Thank you so much for watching today's video. Hope you're having an excellent day and keeping it classy out there. Long live the blockchain, and peace out till next time.